Okay, let's take a look at this essay. I've got the criteria here. I've already had a look at the essay. I'll just take you through my comments and we'll take a look at the scoring. Okay, some people believe that restoration of old buildings costs too much. Demolish and build new ones. Do you agree? Yes or no? Now, paraphrasing. Now, the main thing I want to say here, this is far too wordy. Your lexical resource is terrible. What I mean by that, poor word choice, paraphrasing, use of synonym. There's lots of phrases and sentences here that to a native are meaningless. I don't want to be harsh, but this needs some serious work. I don't know what you've been told, but some of the phrases here to a native with no idea what you are talking about. So let's go through it line by line. It's a widely held view. No, it isn't. Some people is not a widely held view. According to some, you could say. Redesigned and reconstructed. Well, it doesn't say that. Redesign, reconstruction, means again. So the same building, design again, construct it again. But this is talking about demolishing and building completely new buildings. So it's not the same. Given the environmental aspects, is the prime candidate for mankind. What does that mean? What, it's the best option for the planet? And no idea. Admittedly, now your opinion. What are you admitting? You usually use admittedly when you are showing an opposite view of a contrast. Admittedly, I don't really, so you don't really need that. And I'm thoroughly, why don't you just say, in my view, in my opinion? You're adding words just for the sake of it. The examiner will see this. He'll see straight through this, that you are adding words, possibly in the hope of using advanced language to improve your lexical resource score. The opposite is the case. So, should be dismissed. How can you dismiss a demolition? Not a very good word choice. And this is an empty sentence, owing to a number of logical reasons. Which are what? What you've got to do. Restate the topic. According to some, old buildings, blah, 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 blah. In my view, we should keep old buildings, we should build blah, 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 because of reason 1 and reason 2. That's good for an introduction. Now, to begin with, don't do that. Don't do to begin with firstly or secondly. Your cohesion must attract no attention. No attention. But if you're saying to begin with and all this nonsense, then yes, that's attracting attention. So don't do it. Okay, to put it differently. Why? It's not different though, is it? It's a separate idea. So to put it differently would mean saying the same thing in a different way. But what you're doing is, or what you should be doing, is not saying the same thing. You should be developing it. Okay. Having consumed a substantial volume, that's not too bad, a little bit of a boast. Now, this is an example of nothing. Take severely depleted. Now, why is it the most patently obvious example? It's not patently obvious to me, and I'm sure it would be patently obvious to most of the readers. More building, people building business. Okay. Now, what does this have to do with climate change? Natural resources are affected. You were just talking about stone, taking stone out of a quarry. What's that got to do with climate change? How is that an example? It's an example of nothing. Exacerbate the situation. What situation? By fueling the valuing of new building constructions. I have no idea what you're talking about. But honestly, I have no idea. I get a very, very general idea. You're trying to say that building new buildings takes a lot of resources. But climate change, what's that got to do with anything? Now, axiomatic means self-evident. Well, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to provide the evidence. You're supposed to convince the reader. Simple assertion is not an argument. Saying something, oh, it's self-evident. That's not an argument. You have to, logically, systematically develop your ideas. So, outdated. You mean old? You mean historical structures? That's not the same as outdated. Now, we'll lose countless. Okay, that's a little bit verbose. Now, scarce houses. Scarce means a shortage of, a lack of. Scarce houses? What are you talking about? Which are of paramount importance, which means what? To a myriad? You mean a lot of citizens or a lot of people? And then the time-honoured method of urban planning. This could merely have far-reaching impact. No idea. I have no idea what this means. I understand what the words mean, but what you are trying to say here, really, to the reader, I've got no idea. And then their perennial tolls. Did you eat a thesaurus or a dictionary? Because it certainly appears so. Anyway, right. So, far too wordy. You've tried to put in too many advanced band 9 words and it's not working. They do not work. Well, if we go for that, right. Right, so we've got inappropriacies. There's quite a lot of them. Quite a lot of those inappropriacies. Come here, right. Right, higher levels of inaccuracy or inappropriacy, right? So, you're using all these new words, right? But it's not accurate, it's not appropriate. To the reader, it doesn't work. It's nonsense. Now, I wouldn't go that far down. Appropriacy, I don't know if I would go down as low as 5. But certainly there's high degrees of inaccuracy and inappropriacy in terms of vocab. Now, less common, well, no, you haven't used them correctly. So, for your vocab score, I would give it 6. If I can't understand it, if I've got to ask what your sentence means, it doesn't work. Anyway, so, I won't give it more than 6 for your vocab. Clearly developed, do I answer these questions? Well, no, that's not clear at all. So, is it... Okay, yeah. It's directly relevant, more or less, but the conclusions, unclear, unjustified. And your arguments and evidence are not sufficient. You've got the ideas, but simple assertion, and some of those examples, they just do not work. They just don't. So I would give it 6 for that and 6 for that. Cohesion, let's have a look. Logical organization, well, kind of. Clear central topic, well, it's not clear. But, okay, I give it 7 for that. It's not that bad. And the grammar and punctuation also is not too bad. So I would give it 6, 7, say 6, 7, 6, and 7. So that's what I would do. I give it 6. What did I say? 7, more or less. 6 and 7. So let me see. That would be what? 7, 7, 14, 6, 20, 26. Is it 13? 6.5. Couldn't give it more than 6.5. Mainly because of vocabulary and the ideas. They're not sufficiently relevant to what you're talking about. So the main thing though is vocabulary. If you want to get the high score, don't put words down that don't mean what you think they mean. Don't try to impress the examiner, because it's not working. It's just not working. So watch your vocab. That's the main thing. Okay?